Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Our Greater Wellington Regional Rep for the Kapiti Coast, that's Penny Gaylor, who's at a meeting this morning. Good morning, Penny.
Good morning. I'm in sunny Wellington and hardly a breath of wind. It's like Otaki's down here.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the meeting today, Penny?
So it's a full council meeting of regional council, and of course we looked at the agenda and thought, crikey, that could well be the shortest meeting in regional council history. But of course we can't help ourselves, and we of course dive into quite a bit of debate and stuff. And I just skipped out of the room for your call while we're sitting there discussing a proposed remit on climate change investments that Greater Wellington Regional Council is going to put to the local government conference in July. Okay. And that's about asking the big financial banking institutions of New Zealand to actually transition away from investments in fossil fuel industries. So all sorts of things that we end up debating around our table.
Sure. Not too many people very happy with the proposed 6.7% rate increase. Has that been signed and sealed, has it, for the Greater Wellington Regional Council?
No, so that's the whole process that we go through, as do all councils, that we put out a draft of our proposed long-term plan, just as we do every year with a draft annual plan. The long-term plan sets out your 10-year funding plan, and it's a draft, so it means that we've got this great process, as we're required to in local government, for people to have input, which of course there's no other organisation where people, whether they're supermarket shopping, electricity shopping, petrol shopping or health services shopping or anything, that you actually get to have input into an organisation's draft financial plan. So a golden opportunity. If you have a view on this, you have until the 29th of April to share your view. And then in the latter part of May, the 22nd, 23rd and 24th, is when we have our public hearings. And so that's when people can come into our meeting and talk to their submissions. And then it's mid-June, it's actually the 14th of June, that we will then vote, taking into consideration people's submissions. So we can't take into consideration your view, if your view is different or if your view is in agreement with us. If you haven't shared your view in a submission, how are we to know what you're thinking? So we really do. I certainly personally encourage people, particularly, as a Kapiti representative, I want Kapiti to speak up and tell us what their views are on all and any aspects of our draft long-term plan.
So for Kapiti in the long-term plan, what is there that's going to benefit for us?
All right, so we've got some goodies in there that are pretty cool, actually. For the first time ever, there is a proposal that Regional Council's putting some money on the table to get a permanent solution to the capital connection. For the first time ever, money on the table. And of course, we're pitching to government to get theirs would be the lion's share of the arrangement. But what we want to do is get 15 new trains for the Wairarapa line and 2 new trains that would service Otaki right through to Palmerston North. And we would buy those trains to kind of replace the capital connection. And of course, as you'll be aware, and I know your station's carried a lot of stories over the years about the concern of that service being completely cancelled, and it really is at that state. And so this is an opportunity for us to secure the permanent solution. So I would really appreciate the people of Kapiti putting in their submission and supporting it. And, I'm mindful that for those, Paraparunu, Paikokariki, Waikanai, who might go, money investment into north of here, not so worried about it. look at the huge economic benefit that we have had in our district because of the unit trains that went through to Paraparaumu decades ago. And then just in the last decade, that investment that went into Waikanai to have electrification there and that having regular services, what it has provided for us in terms of our economy, in terms of the population of our district. So this is an opportunity for the most northern part of our district and beyond to also get some economic benefits that you absolutely get to realise when you have secured public transport.
Okay, so these two new trains, Otaki to Palmerston, what's happening between Waikanai and Otaki? Are we going to get electric there because this government wants to push more trains through the area? Would your Greater Wellington Regional Council want to push that item along?
So that is that particular electrification is not on the table for our 10-year plan. It's always been something that I've said really would be looking for more of a 20-year plus proposal. That's significant financial infrastructure investment to get electrification from Waikanai to Otaki alone. Last estimates were kind of around 120 million. This train approach is what you call a diesel-electro unit. So, like the Capital Connection that runs from Palmerston North all the way to Wellington on diesel, what you would have is these trains which, for example, there's some of them in Europe, France in particular, where you have a train that runs from Palmerston North down through Levin, down through Otaki to Waikanai on diesel, and at that point, when you hit the infrastructure for electricity, the units will then hook into that and they'll run the rest of their journey on electricity.
Okay, so it's really two new trains from Palmerston to Waikanai. Is that really what we're saying?
No, from Palmerston North, and it will go all the way through to Wellington, so you won't have to change trains.
Oh, right. So it hooks up with the...
And they'll have, for example, those kind of trains would also then have toilet facilities, and be a little bit denser foam probably on the seats just to be a bit more comfortable for those really long journeys. And same would happen for the Wairarapa. You'd have where in the Wairarapa you don't have the electrification, but when you get to a point where you've then got electrification that's upper Hutt, they can flick through onto the grid.
Okay. So in the meantime, we just got to hope that the Capital Connection will continue on. And how much time have we got for that?
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is this is imperative that we secure a long-term permanent solution, because we've limped from year to year with this Capital Connection, and this locks in. If we're buying new trains, it absolutely means that service is locked in, and therefore you've actually then got security for people who are going, gosh, I'd love to go and live further north in Waikanai, or I need to financially live further north than Waikanai. You've got businesses who'll go, gosh, won't I invest in moving into the Otaki area? This part of the whole, putting in broadband, putting in public transport infrastructure, then gives those people thinking to invest personally or in business the security of knowing, gosh, that infrastructure stuff is there and it's locked in, and so this is a good place to invest.
Right. So this 6.7 is just thrown in as a ballpark figure at the moment. How can you reduce that as a Greater Wellington Regional Council? You got items that you think, oh, no, we don't really need to do that this year. That's where we had kind of, to start off, the scary stuff, when we have our early workshops was even higher, and we've kind of pulled it back. As I say, that means that we get things like, new trains for the outer reaches or the most furthest away parts of our region. It also means that, for example, in Kapiti, the Waikanai train station, the ticket office there and the toilets there, part of the long-term plan is to have those opening hours extended, and now that is something that I brought to the regional council table as a increased level of service based on what people in Waikanai were asking me to kind of to the table. So, part of the increases are because of requests that I've brought into the regional council table from the community. And so I know that a lot of people in Waikanai would actually really appreciate that ticket office and the toilets don't close down mid-afternoon when they're still wanting to kind of get in there for ticket servicing and also for, getting off the train and going to the toilet, for goodness sake.
Yes, because we've still got some people using the trees when they get off the trains at the moment.
Talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something to be concerned about. It's a health issue as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, no, that's disgusting, yeah. So, this is just highlighting, a couple of examples. So, look, it's all on the website. There is a particular place, if you want to kind of dive into it straight away and to really quickly, if you type in www, I've done 3, .whatmatters with an S, .co.nz, that takes you straight into the long-term plan page. And so there you can look at some other kind of comments from people right across the region on all the particular kind of areas that we've kind of targeting in terms of the long-term plan. So I really encourage people to have a look at it.
Right.
This is your opportunity, as I've sort of outlined at the start of our interview, a rare opportunity across what other government agency does this for you. Have a go, say to you what matters.
So as our representative, do you think the 6.7% is a fair indication of where it will end up? And would you be happy with it if it was that, or would you like to see it lower? Of course, we all want to see it lower. But then again, like I said, I brought things to the table because people have said to me, we want the hours extended at the Waikanae railway station. We want more planting at Queen Elizabeth Park. We want more trails. We want more investment around flood protection. We want train services secured for the most northern part of our district. So the reality is, if we do want these improvements, the money has to come from ourselves. From the ratepayers. All right,
Yeah.
Penny, well, thanks very much for that. And you enjoy your meeting there. We'll talk to you next week if we can.
Lovely, thank you.
Penny Gaylor, our Greater Wellington Regional Rep.
106.3 Beach FM.